In the heart of Africa, in a small village nestled among rolling hills and lush greenery, there lived a young woman named Akosua. She was known far and wide for her beauty and grace. She was known as the most beautiful girl in the village and was constantly pursued by many suitors. But behind her radiant smile, there was a deep sadness that few could see. Akosua was married to a cruel and violent man named Koffi. He would often come home from his work in the fields and take out his frustrations on her, beating her mercilessly for the smallest of infractions. Akosua bore these beatings with stoic silence, knowing that to speak out would only bring more pain. One day, while Akosua was out gathering firewood in the forest, she stumbled upon a strange sight. A man was sitting under a tree, muttering to himself and waving his arms wildly in the air. His clothes were tattered and dirty, and his hair was a tangled mess. Akosua recognized him as the village madman, a man known for his eccentric behavior and unpredictable outbursts. As she watched him, a snake slithered out from the underbrush and sank its fangs into her leg, causing her to cry out in pain. The madman heard her cries and looked up, his eyes wide and wild. Without hesitation, he lunged forward and grabbed the snake, ripping it from her leg and throwing it into the bushes. Akosua watched in awe as the madman sucked the venom from her wound, his eyes fixed on hers with a strange intensity. His touch was surprisingly gentle, and she felt a warmth spread through her body as he walked to save her from the deadly poison. When he had finished, he simply nodded his head and walked away, leaving her standing there in shock. From that day on, Akosua couldn't stop thinking about the madman. She found herself drawn to him, seeking him out in the village square and watching him from a distance as he wandered the streets, lost in his own world. Despite his strange behavior, there was something about him that intrigued her, something that made her heart beat a little faster whenever he was near. As the weeks passed, Akosua began to spend more and more time with the madman, listening to his rambling stories and sharing her own fears and dreams with him. She discovered that his name was Koffi, and that he had once been a respected healer in the village before he lost his mind to some unseen force. Koffi would often speak in riddles and parables, his words woven with a mix of wisdom and madness that both captivated and confused Akosua. She found herself falling for him, drawn to his free spirit and fearless embrace of the unknown. Despite the warnings of her friends and family, she could not deny the connection she felt with him, a connection that went beyond words and logic. One day Akosua was at home. She saw her husband, who was known for his violent temper, came home in a drunken rage. He accused Aisha of betraying him and started to beat her mercilessly. Akosua screamed for help, but no one came to her rescue. Just when she thought it was the end for her, the madman appeared out of nowhere and fought off Akosua's husband. Koffi was not as defenseless as he seemed. With a speed and grace that belied his insanity, he dodged Kwami's blows and fought back with a strength that shocked everyone watching. In a matter of moments, he had subdued the much larger man, leaving him lying in a heap on the ground. He took her in his arms and ran away with her to safety. As Akosua looked down at her beaten husband, she realized that she had been given a second chance at happiness. Koffi had saved her once again, this time not from a snake's bite, but from a lifetime of pain and suffering at the hands of a cruel man. And in that moment, she knew that she had fallen in love with the madman who had shown her that true courage and kindness could come from the most unexpected of places. Akosua was in disbelief. She had always felt alone and helpless in her marriage, but the madman had shown her kindness and protection that she had never experienced before. She realized that she had developed strong feelings for him and was no longer afraid of his madness. In fact, she saw it as a small part of him that made him unique and special. As they hid in a nearby cave, the madman revealed his true identity to Akosua. His name was Mumo, but them knew him as Koffi, and he was once a skilled hunter in the village. However, one day he went into the forest and never came back. It was believed that he had gone mad from an encounter with an evil spirit. Akosua was amazed by his story and couldn't understand how someone so gentle and kind could be labeled as mad. She felt a deep connection with him and knew that she had fallen in love with him. As weaved their way deeper into the forest, they came across the village doctor. He listened to their story and told Akosua that Koffi's madness could be cured with a special potion made from rare herbs found only in a faraway land. Akosua knew that she had to find this potion and cure Koffi, so they could be together and live a normal life. Without hesitation, Akosua embarked on a journey to find the rare herbs. She faced many challenges and dangers along the way, but she was determined to save Koffi. Eventually, she found the herbs and returned to the village where the village doctor mixed them into a potion. As Koffi drank the potion, he slowly regained his senses and his madness disappeared. Akosua was overjoyed and embraced him, grateful to have her beloved Koffi back into sense. The villagers were amazed at the transformation and could not believe that Koffi was no longer mad. They welcomed him back with open arms and celebrated his return. Akosua and Koffi, who is now known as Mimo, got married in a beautiful ceremony, surrounded by their loved ones. They were the talk of the village and people couldn't believe that a madman had become a loving husband. Akosua and Mimo's love was pure and strong, and they were accepted and respected by everyone. They lived happily ever after and their love story became a legend in the African village. From being complete strangers to saving each other's lives, Akosua and Mimo's love proved to be stronger than any obstacle. They showed that true love knows no bounds and can conquer all, even the madness that once threatened to tear them apart. Akosua had fallen in love with a madman, and that love had changed their lives forever. From that day on, Akosua and Mimo lived as free spirits in the village, their love a beacon of hope and inspiration to all who knew them. They danced under the stars, sang to the wind, and laughed in the face of adversity, their bond strong and unbreakable. And as they walked hand in hand through the streets. The moral of this story is that love knows no boundaries and can flourish in the most unexpected places. Despite his label as a madman, Mimo's kindness, courage, and love for Akosua shone through, ultimately saving her from a life of suffering. Likewise, Akosua's love for Mimo transcended societal norms and judgments, showing that true love is accepting and unconditional. Their journey teaches us that genuine connection and compassion can arise between individuals regardless of their backgrounds or perceived differences. It reminds us to look beyond surface appearances and embrace the humanity and potential for goodness in everyone. Additionally, their story highlights the importance of standing up against abuse and injustice, as demonstrated by Mimo's intervention to protect Akosua from her abusive husband. Overall, the tale encourages us to believe in the transformative power of love, empathy, and the inherent resilience of the human spirit.